Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Costume Co. And today we're doing another interview with Propstore, who have taken the time out of their day to come and chat with us about some amazing costumes that they have available on their recent auction. And to kind of help break all of this down with me, I have with me my guest, Sean Taylor. She is the auction manager with Propstore. Sean, thank you so much for joining us. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for having us.
And of course, you're coming in from London. We were chatting before that the weather isn't so great there today, which is,
No.
typical. We know that London tends to be a bit rainy. Oh, and actually, we have someone joining us as well. So I'll wait till Ro, my co-hosts, will be here in a moment. But at any rate, while we're waiting for Sean, I have with me my co-host and partner in crime, Ro, is here with us today.
How's everybody?
We're
Yeah.
doing well. Sean, how are you doing there?
Yeah.
Oh, I can
Can
hear
you hear
you
me?
now. Okay, there we go. We're all good.
Yeah.
So anyway, Ro, this is Sean Taylor. She is the auction manager at Propstore. So we have some costumes in behind her there, but then, I know you picked out some items for yourself. So they've got those off to the side. So she's going to bring them out. So we're going to start with some of these. Is that okay?
Cool.
How are you doing?
Fantastic. Sorry,
Do you
I
want
was
to tell
late.
everybody a bit about yourself before we get going then?
Sure. So Scarif Podcast, I run a podcast. We talk about mostly Star Wars, as you can see my background, but we have multiple nerd ID cards. So whatever movie is out that's cool, we'll talk a little bit about it, deep dive, and go into character story, behind the scenes, costumes, props, and all wonderful, cool little nerdy things. So that's what we do. Have fun on the internet. And as we say on the show, that's the scuttlebutt.
Yeah. So, so I have given Sean some items. You have given Sean some items. So she has some that are behind her right now. So we're going to start with those. So Sean, to put you back on the spot again. Uh, which one did you want to start with? I'll let you sort of take charge.
Let's start with this one, just because
Sure.
it is so 90s. It's unbelievable.
Mhm.
This is Rick Santoro's suit from Snake Eyes. This is from the Fright Night scenes. And yes, it is so lurid. I think you could see it in the dark.
Mhm.
It's even got NC written inside as well, which is fantastic. Why is this
For Nicolas Cage.
one of your picks? Yes, this is Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
Sorry, got the actor name.
Yeah. And,
Too
I'm
important.
actually, Ro, I don't know about you, but I'm a huge Nick Cage fan and I defend him. I have been defending him for years. He's come out with some incredible work recently, but some of his old, I've been watching some of his older works that he's been doing. So this suit, I think, is just so iconic and cool. But even if it's like in an ugly sort of way, like, go ahead,
It
Sean.
reminds
Sorry.
me of his Castor Troy outfit in
Yes.
Face Off as well. He had definitely had a look at that time.
Yeah, absolutely.
The highlights are interesting too because there's kind of a sheen to it, and you can really tell what material is that.
I think it's just polyester.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah,
don't think
it has a
like,
shot to it, which means like it's woven one color one way and one color the other way. So it might be
Mhm.
gold with like a purple like blend in it. That gives it sort of that iridescent. But what's the shirt underneath there? Is that sort of like a Hawaiian shirt?
Yep, Hawaiian, gorgeous flowers could be on them. Magnum PI. I think it would work quite well.
Yeah.
Oh my
But it's a
gosh.
lot bigger than I would have expected as well. Obviously, things
But
are
the
badly.
idea that you could own something that was worn by Nick Cage is so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And the combination is so perfect because that shirt kind of just brings out the highlights. It's almost like a wood pattern, that suit.
Yeah.
Like wood grain.
It does look like a wood grain. Maybe because it's got maybe there's a bit of a watermark or something on it. I don't know.
Hmm.
No, it's just the pattern. It's in
Mhm.
really good condition.
Yeah. And are you allowed to tell me what size the jacket is?
No size is marked,
Oh,
unfortunately.
no sizes are marked, so maybe it was custom
No,
made then.
Yeah.
custom made for Mr.
Mhm.
Gage.
Definitely. Now to the next one you have, it's very tiny. This was on Ro's list. It's so wee, we can't even see it. We're gonna get some close-ups later, though.
Yeah, can literally fit in the palm of my hand.
So
Yeah.
cute.
And which one? What did I pick? Remind me.
This is one of the spinners from Blade Runner.
Oh yeah,
Obviously, we had the police ones and the private versions, and this is the private one. And as I understand it, it's kind of modelled on a DeLorean.
Oh, that's very cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, so yeah, get some close-up shots of that, but it's just the cutest little thing. When I first saw it, I was like, "What? What on earth could that be?"
So they would have probably have used that like models when they were shooting the movie, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so they made loads of miniature sets. We've had some of the amazing skyscape panels before, where they just had a cutout of the city, and these would have been used sort of more in the distance to make it look obviously like it was bigger than it is, small, far away, forced
sure.
perspective. And it's really, really nice to have such pieces like this, because this is actually from the collection of Jeff Hutchins, who's quite a well-renowned Blade Runner archivist who passed away a few
Oh.
years ago. And we were fortunate enough to help kind of curate the collection and help kind of give it back to the fans. His family came to us a few years ago to sell his archive, essentially.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. You know, the other day I walked into a thrift store, and on the back shelf, which was amazing to me, there were 6 Millennium Falcon toys from 1978. And obviously, those things were highly collectible. The 78 versions, there was a 96 version of the toys, which, you know, everybody bought. But back in 77, when Star Wars came out, you know, the movie, the toys were delayed by a year. So everything came out, you know, the year after. And obviously, those the Millennium Falcon is highly sought out. But it's interesting to me that you know, I joked around about my wife with my wife during that sighting of the Millennium Falcons. I said either somebody got divorced or somebody died, and it's unfortunate, but I think it's one of those things where I'm always curious to know, like, when collectibles come into the public eye, because it is kind of a sad story. You know, we collect all this stuff behind us, and then obviously we can't take it with us. But it's kind of sad.
Unless you're a pharaoh.
Right, exactly. And I asked Heidi this question a couple of episodes ago, like, what would you like to be buried in if you had a choice? But it is kind of sad regarding, you know, a lot of the stuff that we have and how it comes into play into the public eye.
Yeah, and it's not until after something like that happens that people really appreciate what the value is. Often it's just been in a box in a garage or in a loft, gathering dust. And it's only when
Absolutely.
someone's new experience, and they might not even recognize the value, which is why stuff ends up in thrift stores, I suppose.
Sure. Yeah, that's sad. And I always wanted to know the story of stuff that I find, especially the stuff that is, you know, older, vintage, you know, from the 70s, because that a lot of times is more valued by fans. You know, one of the reasons I picked that Blade Runner piece was because I noticed a similarity to an arm gauntlet that Boba Fett wears in The Empire Strikes Back. It looks almost very, very similar to the armature, the weapon that Boba Fett has on his forearm. And I might have to do a little research on that because it was very reminiscent of that design.
Maybe he also worked on
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of crossover. Yeah, there's a lot of crossover
because
with
Blade
these
Runner
films.
was quite a bit later. It was the 80s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of kit bashing going on those days.
Oh yeah, for sure. So Sean, we have now I've seen some of these come up to auction before. The Floston Paradise sailor uniform, which were designed by Jean-Paul Gaultier. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this outfit?
Yeah, so as you've said, Jean-Paul Gaultier designed it in his classic sailor design. I think it screams the campness of the entire film. I love it. Obviously, there were a fair few crewmen, which is why we would have had a couple in the past. But it's kind of one of the most complete ones that we've seen. It's got the top, the tunic, the hat, the shorts, and the trousers. And yeah, if you know, you know, and you'll be shouting Lulu Dallas multipass all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of my favorite. Well, I love the whole movie is amazing. And I have seen other, you know, items come up for auction as well, from that. So it's always really cool to see that. Do you know,
I think I have those shorts.
Probably. Yeah. Now, do you know, like, you've had other ones come through? Was this one that came back again? Like someone's re-auctioning it? I know you're not allowed to tell certain things, but
Oh, that
or
I
is this
don't
first
actually
time
know.
this has come up for auction?
I don't remember seeing this one before,
Okay.
but I couldn't say for certain.
Yeah. But like Ro was saying, like sometimes people, they wanted to refresh their collection, or, they like I have a friend who collects, and he'll sometimes sell off things so that he can buy other things, so they want to constantly.
Yeah.
Well, this is why we love this particular auction, because it's a bit more of an entry level auction compared to like the big tentpole ones that we did sort of last month that we'll do in the winter as well. And so this is where a lot of people come to start their collection, and then as time goes on, they'll be like, okay, I want to swap it for something bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's like the paperclip game where you end up with like a Ferrari or a house at the end of it. It's all kind of like a trading up game. So yeah, this is one of my favorite pieces for newer collectors as well.
Now, there's a show that came out. There was a movie called The Gentleman, and then there's now a TV show called The Gentleman, which I love, starring Theo James. And so the next costume, this beautiful fuchsia costume with the red turtleneck and everything, is Susie Glass's outfits. Her outfits were so good in this. So I was delighted to see that you have one of her looks. I don't want to say the actress's name. I'll probably get it wrong. It might be Kaya Scodelario.
I'm not going to try and pronounce it.
Yeah. Anyway, it's Ro, have you seen The Gentleman? There was a movie.
I have not. No.
Oh, you haven't? Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Sean.
No, I was just saying I haven't personally seen it, but
It's
I've heard so many
fantastic.
good things. Guy Ritchie never tends to put a foot wrong, to be honest.
It's always amazing. So anyway, and I'm hoping there's a season 2, fingers crossed. But anyway, do you want to tell us a little bit about this outfit?
Yes, so this is when she was meeting with Eddie at the, is it called the Glass Knuckles, I believe?
Yeah, she's sort of like the she's like the big boss's daughter. So it's like she obviously has, comes from some money. She dresses very, very well. Now, does it come with the boots? I think it does, or the shoes, I should say, which are fabulous, Sean, which it's funny because part of the reason why I love this show so much is because I'm Canadian and I'm watching all of the wonderful British fashions and all of the tweeds and checks and everything that the men wear. In Canada, you don't see anything like that. So that's why it was so fun for me. And then Susie, she's sort of like the couture, she dresses in couture. So I think that a lot of her outfits are like, British design. From my understanding.
Yeah, and it's funny how you see like period content is always really popular with our fan base. If it's stuff that you can just buy from the Gap or H&M, it's not quite so interesting unless it's covered in blood or God knows what. But we're starting to see more recent eras coming into the more collectible market. So content like this, which isn't that old in the grand scheme of things, is actually becoming quite popular, not just because of the production that it was in, but because of the aesthetic. So I think that's really interesting.
And I mean, I've been like traditionally more of a sci-fi lover, and but more recently I've been kind of getting more into contemporary. So like The White Lotus, for instance, is like a really fun show, and it's but the way that everything is curated, it's just, I think the designers are doing such a great job. And I think Lulu is the name of the designer. She did such a great way of conveying, the class system, which again is more of an English thing than it is a Canadian thing. And also just, she sort of had these incredible pops of color, as you can see. So you have like with Susie, she has really bright colors, but versus the men who are more in, like I said, the natural colors of, the British setting, I suppose. So you could probably speak better to that to me, but that was sort of my experience as a Canadian watching a British show.
Yeah, I think it's to me, it's akin to things like Call the Midwife. It's like a little time capsule of things.
Absolutely.
And I suppose we're more familiar with them over here, but they're still like a real nostalgia hit when you see it on the TV. Especially because there's people now that it's kind of still in living memory. And like your grandma might have worn something like this. So it makes it quite relevant in a way, which is nice.
Absolutely. Oh, Sean is back. She's all set up and ready to go.
Excellent.
Wow, that was a quick
Ooh.
changeover. By the way, I just want to do a quick shout out to all of the people who were there in behind the scenes helping to make this
Yes.
possible. We really, really appreciate it. Right, Ro?
Yes, absolutely. Love to see the activity back there.
Unsung
It's so
heroes
fun.
of Propstore.
Yes.
Yeah. I used to work in theater, Sean, so I know set changes quite well.
Yep.
Okay, so we have a whole new setup here. Do you want to take us through it? These are more Rose sort of on his wish list.
Yeah, okay. Well, starting off, we have a crew t-shirt from Star Wars. And the interesting thing about this is it's a Ralph McQuarrie design of the X-Wing. So it's not one that you see very often. And as a little added bonus, you also get an ILM Apple box.
Wow.
I love these, and as a particularly short person, I can see where they would come in very useful.
That's a
But
very small one, though. Like that's only like a couple
it
inches
is.
tall,
I think
right?
it was not used for like propping things up, so like, it
Yeah,
had to be at
that's
an
so,
angle,
so cool. But
lifting
it's
it and
stamped with
everything.
ILM, which is really neat, right, Ro?
Yeah, absolutely. I think
I would use that
yeah, one of
to
the
reach
things that
something in a top shelf.
exactly stack a couple of those, but stuff like that really fascinates me, obviously, because I'm into production, and it's funny because we use Apple boxes like all the time, but you would never think that like something like that would be in a prop house. But knowing that, it came from the halls of industrial light and magic, it's kind of got that special magic to it, if you will. So yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
in my collection myself, my other half's a lighting tech, and we've got an ILM like miniature light. And just because it's got the ILM logo on it, it's just like it's so special because you're like that could have
Sure.
lit next wing. Who
So
knows?
cool.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the
We
cool
did
thing
wonder
about
what.
I'm sorry. I was going to say that's the magic thing about these props. It's like if you just look at it at face value without knowing like the story and the history behind it, it's just a suit. It's just a piece of wood. It's just, it's just this. But I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons that collectors collect, because they want to take a piece of, a film or a product, a TV show that they love, and they want it, close to them, so they can feel like they're a part of it in some small way. It's psychological. It's like all therapy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and with something like that, it's so beaten up that you're like, well, this was definitely used. Like some costumes, like you don't know if they made it to screen, whereas that's been through a lot of work. It's
Yeah.
probably been on countless sets, done numerous things, and so yeah, it's got blood, sweat, and tears on it, probably literally.
Yes.
So what's that aliens monitor? What's that all about?
So this is from Hadley's Hope, from the Hadley's Hope set. And it's also very similar to the one that Ripley uses in her kind of her quarters, and when she's speaking to people on that. And the fascinating thing is it still comes with the original cables and the manual, which I find
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
interesting. But it's
I
just
saw that
like
on the website.
at the time it was an off-the-shelf Panasonic TV monitor, but
I think
they made it
I
into something that was so futuristic.
Yeah, I think I have one of those in my production office, like 2 or 3 of those. What are the TC-80s?
Yes. No, they're just Panasonic were clearly ahead of their time.
Yeah, absolutely.
That or working for Yutani.
One of the things that again fascinates me, on the set of the TV show Battlestar Galactica, there was a lot of monitors and equipment that that we as TV people used to use to test video signals. It was a company called Textronics, and they were just hired to put in monitors and equipment that existed for television that wasn't really known to the general public, because the general public wouldn't go behind the scenes in a TV production studio. But it was just waveform monitors and vectorscopes that were on the wall on the bridge of the Battlestar Galactica that made it look really cool and futuristic.
You mean the original series, right, Ro? Not
Right,
the
correct,
remount.
correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
The good one.
The good one. The one with the sort of I love the alien, like the alien influence. Or not alien, sorry, the Egyptian influence.
But yeah, so it's fascinating to me to kind of see, that stuff be integrated into, science fiction in general. And that's why I picked that.
No, it's good. You know more about it than we do. That's fascinating. I love
Yeah.
it. Well, moving on to more sci-fi, we have the forced perspective spacesuit for O'Neill, which is obviously Sean Connery's character. So this is actually made for a child to wear, so that it would appear as if someone like Sean Connery was actually wearing it. It's got even like Conan patches on it, greeblies, and the foam kind of headpiece. But they did the same thing for Alien as well. I think at the time it must have been quite a popular kind of special effects technique. And I know obviously in things like Lord of the Rings, they used it as well. But it seems for something so futuristic to be so simple to have incorporated such a simple effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And again, greeblies are a very Star Wars universe sort of term.
Right. Yeah.
Tyro?
All the little odds and ends that the model
Yeah.
makers would place on strategically just to make it look like it's functional
Mhm.
little antennas or little boxes, odds and ends. So that's cool. I love that you use that term.
Me too. Like I saw an interview recently with John Mallow talking about greeblies, and he said, actually on Alien, and he was saying, "Oh, we've come to refer to these as greeblies," but I think it started with Star Wars.
That must be where I picked it up from then, because obviously this was designed by John Mallow.
Oh, it
obviously
wasn't.
did
Oh, it was
Alien.
designed by
Yeah,
John
yeah,
Mallow.
he
Well,
was
there you
the designer
go.
of John Mallow.
So cool.
Very
Okay.
nice.
Alien, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he knows his stuff.
He knows his
What's
stuff.
now the helmet? What's that made out of?
That's just foam.
Oh, is it really? Okay, that's interesting.
Forced
actually, the suit.
perspective is a very effective
So,
way of shooting stuff, especially on large sets. I was on the set of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and the promenade is forced perspective. It looks like it's deeper than it is, but that's because as you get farther away, the sets are smaller and smaller. And I was surprised at how small the set was, which is cool. They did the same thing in Empire Strikes Back when Yoda is off in the distance and he's walking back to his tree. It's a small person wearing a Yoda suit, just kind of walking, so it doesn't look like a puppet. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, like, and and now with CGI, but I know some directors and producers are going back to using these sort of practical effects, like the forced perspective and so on. Like I just watched a show where there's a giant and then there's a normal sized person, and in real life they're not that far apart, but with like just having one off in the distance. Or I think they did the same thing with Lord of the Rings, right, with the cast.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a very effective way of kind of saving on CGI for one, but the more you can do in camera, the better, I think.
Now, Sean, what's this last look you have? This last outfit?
Last but not least, this is Top Dollar's suit, played by Michael Wincott, from the finale of The Crow. So quite a spectacular kind of supernatural drama with a lot of tragedy attached to it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a beautiful piece. The padding along here is my particular favorite. Like I've not seen suits like that, and it's sort of probably very of its time, sort of 80s. But there's got some quite incredible boots, which I'm not quite sure.
Whoa! Okay, like riding
Wow.
boots. Mm-hmm. No, that's the one. That's the Brandon Lee one.
Yeah, that's the Brandon Lee one, not the remake.
Yeah, and sadly, the remake did not do very well. But I'm sure there's a huge group of people who would love to own something like that from the original Brandon Lee one.
Even from this distance, the suit looks amazing.
It does.
The lines, the contour of that side panel that you pointed to. It's an interesting design.
It looks like leather quilting or something.
It's sort of satin.
Oh, is it?
So
okay. But it's like quilted though, right?
Yeah, and then we've just got the waistcoat underneath.
Yeah, so it's a 3-piece suit then, and then you get the boots as well?
Yep, no, it's a gorgeous piece.
Who played that character, Ro? Do you know offhand?
It was Michael Wincott.
Yes, Michael
Oh,
Wincott.
okay.
Yeah, tragically was involved in the incident.
But The Crow 1994, a movie that should not have been remade.
Yeah, I
Perfect
have to
as it
agree with
is.
that. It is perfect. I have to agree with that, and iconic. Well, Sean, I think we've come to the end of all of the collections. Now, before we let you go, do you want to tell us a little bit about this auction, because it's the just the dates and everything? Entertainment memorabilia auction.
Yeah, so we have our auction running now. It's a timed auction, so you can place your bids anytime between now and sort of the kind of towards the end of the UK day on the 23rd of April. Everything starts at reserve, so if you place a bid, it's yours. We've got great pieces starting from sort of £100. There's some pieces which we think will be potentially very good bargains. As I said earlier, we've got some really good entry level pieces as well. So if you're starting your collection or just in the early phases of collecting, this would be a great opportunity to add to your collection.
So, Sean, thank you so much for Sean. She is the auction manager at Propstore. Thank you so much for taking the time and being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to chat.
Okay, well, you take care now.
Thank you. Take care of
Bye.
yourself. And yeah, these guys.
Okay.
We've got Niddy. Don't forget Niddy. And we have Paul.
Thanks, Nitty.
And we have Graham. So
Thanks, Paul and Graham and Nitty, of course.
Thank
It takes a
you.
team. Ronosis, Ro, you know this, right? Because
Yes.
you obviously work in
there's
TV
no,
and
there's no me and team. There's no I and
yes.
team.